Hello everybody. I know I keep making update videos, but this clod seems to be a work in progress, and no matter what I do, I'm never quite finished with it. I'm never quite happy, but I think I've taken this thing to the point where I'm happy. So it's a cross between a scale style rock crawler slash clod. And I'll show you some of the things that I've done to kind of add the realism and kind of change things to the fact that I'm happy with it. The first thing you can see right off the bat is the clod tires are gone. I've in fact replaced them with traxxas emaxx tires that were on my Slayer to Revo conversion, which begs the question, what is on my Revo now? And I will show you. That's what's on the Revo now. I had these lying around in my closet. They are emaxx Jumbo Max Claws tires, which these were seen very, very, very early on my original Aftershock. And they've actually been sitting in the closet collecting dust for about 2 years. So I brought them out of retirement, and they're back in active duty. And it adds a tremendous width to the truck. But alright, back to the real project. Alright, so what I've done, the first thing you can see is the truck has been lowered. The truck has been lowered probably about a good, I'd say at least 6 inches from where it was. That has all been done with, obviously, the custom four-link suspension. The shocks that I have on here, they are traxxas Slayer shocks that have been modified. I've actually taken apart the shock, and for the actual rod, it's actually the rod that was in the clodbuster tire, or the clodbuster shock. So these are no longer oil-filled units. I guess they are friction-style shocks, but that's fine for me because this truck does not go off-road. The tires are a little dirty because I didn't have any snow to plow, so I was plowing dirt. The way the tires are mounted to the chassis or to the axles is because these tires and wheels use a 14mm hex. Clod has a 12mm hex, but it has a 5-pin style connector that goes along with it. So what I've done is I've just behind here there's the hub. I've removed that, and I've actually put 3 screws going in a triangular shape through that actually sit behind these the 5-star look, which keeps the wheel centered. And I had to machine a little bit out of the center of the rim to allow the axle to pull off far enough to install the wheel nut. If you guys would like a more detailed of how to make these emaxx wheels fit a clod, just leave a comment and I will do a video on showing you how to mount these to clod axles, because it does narrow the track significantly of the truck. It kind of gives it a more scale style look, and plus the tires now fit behind the plow, so when I plow, the snow can come around instead of onto the tires. A couple other modifications that have been done to the plow is I've added plow lights. It's a full metal bracket that I've machined. It's actually was a bracket from my Losi LST I had lying around, and I just cut off the bottom half, and it actually makes a perfect plow frame in the front. It's bolted into the front of the clod, so I just removed these 2 screws, unplugged the wires, and unplugged the lift servo, and this whole snow mount comes off the front of the truck. And everything, all lights do work. Full plow lights and headlights. As far as the plow, again, it's a little more realistic because now when the plow lifts, the truck does squat, as it should. It will squat up and down. As far as the plow, It's been a work in progress, but I've always kept on adding to it and adding to it. Started life as an ESP Snowplow frame. This again was the original mount that would go to the truck. This has been flipped around. I'll show you how I did this in earlier videos, and mounted a steer servo directly to it. So there is front only steering, and the rear steering has been locked out. Also, the rear differential has been fully locked for better traction. When I want to remove the front of the plow, like I said, this mount just pulls off. Remove these two screws right here. The whole plow system comes off. Unplug my angling servo, and I'm good to go. And the way this is set up, as I said before in other videos, this is actually higher than the lowest point of the axle, so this doesn't intrude with ground clearance. But pretty much the plow just stays in the truck year round, because again, the only time the truck really goes outside is during the winter. So for the plow, like I said, it started as an ESP snowplow. I started cutting and stuff like that. Added a steer servo, or angling servo. This bracket was from a Traxxas Slayer for the steering. It's also from the same part as a Revo. This is what the servo would connect to, which would actually physically turn the front wheels. And I've bolted it directly to a servo horn. So that's what angled my blade side to side. As far as to turn it, I have a corner brackets that I modified to allow to bolt on as a pivot. Those are Traxxas Slayer push rods to angle the plow back and forth. The springs are factory from the ESP snowplow. Even though factory wasn't really a trip plow, this is a 100% trip plow, because my mount is actually higher, so there is something to hit. So if I hit something, it does trip. To make it a little more realistic, I made a snow foil for the front of the plow. I just took aluminum sheet metal, folded it to make a snow foil, to kind of look a little more realistic. I painted the bottom half to kind of look like a snow blade. The original holes that were originally designed in the ESP snowplow, I welded straight through and sanded off to kind of make it smooth. This is where my pivot is. So now, when you hit something, the blade will fold forward without damaging anything. And same thing, it doesn't matter what angle it's on, it'll always trip. Across the back of the truck, I wanted to be a little more creative, so I made a tonneau cover. And it's a little crude, but it works. It's actually, again, aluminum sheet metal that I cut to fit the back of the truck. And I was going to paint it, but I opted to cover it in electrical tape to kind of give it more of a vinyl tonneau cover look. So it's a little crude, because the sheet metal was a little off. But it kind of gives you a basic idea of this was like a 5-minute project just thrown together. And to access the body pins, I made it hingeable, so I can still get on and remove everything that I need to remove the body. Other than that, it's still stock motors, stock ESC. I have the Traxxas TQI 5-channel receiver in it, and the Traxxas TQI 4-channel radio from a Traxxas Summit. Other than that, again, because of the smaller tires, let's see if you can kind of see now that with the plow down, the plow is wider than the track of the truck. The track of the truck has been narrowed quite a bit, so it gets away from that clod look, and it gets like that Tamiya high lift axial SC10 crawler look, where it still has big tires on it, but the tires are somewhat under the body to a point to give, again, a more realistic look. So hopefully the next video that I do on this truck, there will be snow on the ground, and I will be able to do a video of plowing snow, but to show how it all works and how the design was done, and how well. And I know I'm dying to get snow on the ground so I can try this thing out. And I know people will probably be more interested in seeing this thing plowing snow than to see it sitting on my shelf, just showing how everything works. But hopefully the next video of this will be plowing snow. Alright guys, see y'all later.